Welcome to the Decide Your Legacy podcast, helping individuals and businesses unleash their potential. Join us every episode as host Adam Gragg discusses what is holding us back and how to find hope for moving forward. Along the way, we discuss developing healthy relationships and navigating life transitions while overcoming fear, stress, and anxiety. Live the life you want, the legacy you decide.
This is the second part of our series on relationship building actions. I'm your host, Adam Gragg, with Brent Coppock. If you haven't checked out the first part, you want to check that out. Really great stuff from Brent. I found it so helpful. We split into 2 different episodes. It just flowed. A lot of great content there. Check that out. You really enjoy this episode as well. Talk to you soon. Okay, so the 5 love languages, there's words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, and then words of quality time, receiving gifts, and then $100 bills. No, I'm just kidding. That's part of receiving gifts right there. What's the 5th one?
Words of affirmation, did you say that?
Yeah, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts.
Physical touch.
Physical touch, yeah, okay. Physical touch, painting their toenails. Yeah. Doing all that.
Whatever.
Giving back rubs.
Yeah. Shoulder rubs. She likes that. Yeah.
Does she? Yeah. From you, she probably doesn't like it from a stranger.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe she does. Does she ever get massages?
She does. She started recently. Yeah.
Cool.
In the last year or 2.
I'll have to get the name of whoever it is that she goes to.
Is it? She has a lot of stress in her neck and shoulders, and so
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. So, what other activities, or how would you have a client engage that activity, first of all, and then what other activities would you maybe recommend after the first few sessions?
So this is actually from one of my clients. I think they would been married like 60 plus years. And one thing they told me is the best thing you can do for your marriage is go for a walk. And man, that is good. Spot on, because as you're walking, you can hold hands. There's your physical touch. If you're quality time, you're spending time together. So you got that. If you're talking, you can do words of affirmation. Yeah. I mean, you can nail almost all of them just
right there
in that.
Yeah. And you get a great Christmas picture. If you're walking with your whole family, holding hands,
holding hands.
Like that. Yeah. I think you sent me a Christmas card one year. You're all holding hands like in the fall.
Right.
Walking through the park. Like someone just casually caught that picture.
Yeah, just happened to catch us, look over our shoulder.
I know. 7 people in the park holding hands. Yeah. Those photographers catch people right in action.
Right.
That's good.
Just sleep there or something. Just waiting.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a really cool. So going on a walk, what else?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, hike would qualify too.
Yeah, hikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about the hike story?
Let's see your hike story.
So, and this goes along with talking about doing hard things, doing the hard of calling somebody, and so I love Colorado. That is my happy place. I love hiking. And so sometimes I get my family in over their head. And so we're going on this hike, and I kind of misjudged the length of this hike. So my boys, they were all little guys at that time, probably like 3, 5, 7. I'm not sure. Somewhere in there. They're fairly little guys. And so we're hiking and we're hiking and we're hiking and we're hiking. And, one by one, they start grumbling. And even my wife eventually started grumbling. And so we would stop, and we always have snacks. And so we would pass out snacks. And then I would try, I wonder what's around this corner, because it was just switchbacks, And so I bet it's just, just around this next corner. I mean, it was
the end of the hike.
I was really starting to question if we were going to make it. I mean, it was a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth. But finally, we come around this corner, and there's this beautiful mountain lake. There's a waterfall and a little pool, and we were able to use we have this pump, that filters the water and refills the water bottles. And the boys, they got all excited about that, and then as we're finishing up that, there's a huge rock there, and my boys are climbing. They love to climb on rocks. And so they climb on this rock, and they find this dead bat.
Not a dead rat, a dead bat. B-A-T,
yes,
a dead bat. And they're playing with it.
Yeah, so we have a picture of them on this rock, standing in this bat. But you look the other direction and there's this beautiful mountain lake. I mean, it was amazing. And my boys are looking at a dead bat. We hike back down and we're high-fiving. I'm like, you guys are awesome, rock stars. I can't believe you did that. Wasn't that cool? And all they can talk about is the dead bat.
That's the great part. So you never know. You do hard things. You go first. You help them to keep pushing forward. And then you have this experience you'll never forget.
Yeah.
And like they'll be joking about the dead bat when they're 35
Right.
or 40. Or you can probably tell the best man of their weddings or their maid of honor about that story. They can share it to embarrass them.
And they don't talk about all the
waterfall
of going up.
No,
Or
exactly.
the beautiful stuff that I saw. It was,
because they got there and they pushed through.
Yeah.
And people don't remember. If you remember that at the end, you do the right thing, you keep doing the right thing, and you keep doing first, keep pushing forward at the end. Which, I mean, I can't tell you how difficult of situations that I've had to, like, just by friends and just faith get to the other side that I get to see. Now I can use it to help other people. And you have the same kind of experiences in your life, and you push through and you see that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's like you can't control it. It may be when you go on this road trip and the car breaks down and you end up, whatever, begging for gas somewhere. Like, I mean, I have great story. I do have a great story about running out of gas, right? Like just running out of gas. And my buddy, like, who is notorious for doing this, Dave, did it again. Like, you're going to push on camping trips. Like, this is crazy. I think I mentioned, he keeps a can of gas in his car now. He has to, man. He's ran out of it so many times. It's so stupid, but it's crazy. It's funny. I shouldn't say stupid. Sorry. I'm not saying that. But I don't want to be equal to that, right? I don't want to be. I want to get gas in time. Come on. But I do other stuff, like I'm late all the time and everything. But
yeah,
I've been on that, though. I'm telling you. Getting to bed on time has helped me a lot. So how do you handle resistance with clients and your kids? Let's say clients, when they don't want to do this stuff, or they come back and they haven't actually done it. And they say initially that they're going to do it, but they don't do it.
Yeah. So I think having them focus on what their goal, bringing that, okay, so this is what you said you wanted to do. This is the goal you had. And then is it still what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to get there if you don't actually do the things that you say you want to work on?
Because it's not what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, like, man, I don't know, 25 years ago, 25 plus years ago, I decided I wanted to read the Bible in a year. I've never read it for myself, front to back, cover to cover.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it. And so I got this Bible, and it's marked, you read from here to here each day and you'll get there, right? And I would do really good through the week, but then weekends, holidays, vacations, I would just forget, I would get up and get started doing something else, because my routine's different, and I would just forget. It wasn't I didn't want to. And so I heard a guy say one time, he never eats breakfast until he reads his Bible. And I was like, that's it, because I don't miss a meal. I mean, I don't miss meals. I'm hungry all the time. I eat.
You don't snack though much, do you?
No, I eat my meals but I don't miss meals. And so I was like, I could do that, because when my stomach started growling, if I was out of my schedule, and got doing something and my stomach started growling, I'd be going, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't read my Bible yet. So it wasn't like some kind of thing I beat myself up over. It was just a reminder, like setting my alarm to wake up, in the morning. It was just a reminder. And so for me, just doing that over and over and over, I got to where it's not even a thought anymore. It's just, I just do it. And so there may be that thing you have to figure out, what is it that I need a reminder to be able
that
to,
is so cool.
to do what work I
for
want
sure.
to do.
It's an if, what I like to call it as an if then plan. If this happens, then if I wake up, or if it's before breakfast, then I read my Bible.
Yeah.
So
right.
I thought, with talking to my parents, I've had this if-then plan in place where if I have a conversation with my parents, then I'm asking them a curious question. Like yesterday, I asked my mom about her neighborhood when she grew up in El Paso. And I learned something. I learned how close to Mexico she lived, which she grew up in a neighborhood. She told me the name, but also learned that she had one bathroom and 2 bedrooms with her sister. So her mom and dad had a bedroom, her and her sister had a bedroom. And that it was interesting to hear, like, that they could actually see the hills of Juarez from the area which is kind of cool. Like, because I always knew she was really good at cooking Mexican food, but I didn't know how close she was. Like, that's really close.
Yeah.
Right? And she moved when she was 12 or 13 to Sacramento.
Okay.
Because her dad worked for the railroad, which, by the way, I have her dad's watch when he retired, which is cool. Gold watch. I don't know if it's really worth much. That'd be the action I would challenge you to take, is like create an if-then plan. Like, if this happens, then I'm going to do something that's an action to build a relationship with people. So let's go to the third essential here. Oh, before I do that, hit the link to Shatterproof yourself. You're going to get in this mini course, you're going to get tools for building great relationships, actually, because that is the seventh step of the 7 small steps to a giant leap in your mental health, is to build true friends, healthy friendships. And so there's 7 steps here, and this is a process that I take clients through. It's a very practical, simple way. This is Shatterproof Yourself Lite, 30 minutes and a worksheet. 4-page worksheet. You fill in the blank. It's helpful for a workplace team, individually, a marriage, a couple, a family. It's a very broad usage tool. Hit the link to get Shatterproof Yourself. So Shatterproof Yourself Lite. And by the way, another cool thing is the Decide Your Legacy app is launched. You can get it on the App Store, and you can download that, set up an account, and you can go through Shatterproof Yourself Lite on the app. And there's some bonuses in the Shatterproof Yourself Lite free version that you can check out. One of them is called Daily Actions, and it's an awesome worksheet that it's stuff I've been doing for 15 plus years, and I want all clients to engage, that you can fill out and download and do on your own. It's the Daily 5 and 5. It also has the 3 and 3 at the end of the day. It has the life wheel on there. Check out 15 minutes, when you engage in each area of your life wheel. So you want to miss that as well. And it is free. The third essential is to do the hard, right? Instead of avoiding stuff, you actually engage it and you do it. And so the word decide means so much to me, because it's like a burning the boat moment where you're saying that I'm committed to this thing. It's your vows. It's like you're only going and getting married, I hope, if you're saying, I'm not going to get divorced from this person. Like, this is not an option here for me to quit. I'm going to do the hard no matter what. And I know there's exceptions. I mean, I speak as somebody who has a failed marriage and somebody who had things happen that never thought could actually happen. But I didn't get in, and I didn't go in, and I never had the mentality that I was going to give up on the thing. Ever. I mean, really, the reality is like, and so if you can do the hard and have that kind of mentality, it's the right thing you're going to do, then it's significantly important to building progress now and to taking action. So I think about some of the close relationships I have. And one of them is the podcast engineer right now, Brian, who I got close to through a small men's group that I had been engaging in for, I don't know, maybe 20 years. Like, we met consistently, and I still meet with really all the guys that I've been with, I still meet with consistently in that group. But I don't know, when did you start? I mean, it was a men's group that we met in Brent's basement, probably starting in the early 2000s, I would guess, right? That 20 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
When did you buy that house?
It was 21 years ago.
Okay. So it was in that house.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 20-ish years.
Right. And so, meeting at 5:30 every week, that's kind of not easy to do. AM, 5:30 AM. Yeah, exactly. What is this do the hard concept all about?
One of the biggest things I've been wrestling with for years now is there's no escaping hard. Life is hard. We were talking with some friends one time about this, and I was like, I think that if it's not hard, you're probably not doing something right. And it'd be a time to get curious and it's like, what's going on? Because life is hard. And it happens 2 different ways. It can be being intentional and doing the hard work up front. And then like the hike, you get to experience the beautiful lake, after you get to the top of the mountain. Or you're going to avoid the hard, and then you suffer the hard consequences. And there's no beautiful lake at the end of that. It's just hurt.
Just a dead bat. But the dead bat's on the trail going up.
Probably a lot of dead things at the bottom of that. You
don't get to see the dead bat.
So either way, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's just what you want at the end of it. And, like you said, you do the hard work and then you get the satisfaction. Like, wow, I did that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I was afraid to ask my mom that question, but at the end of that, I learned a whole bunch of new stuff. But I think the do the hard to me is you're not living in fear and succumbing to the fear, which is to me is so much worse
Yeah.
It's like staying in that job where you know they could set you up to fail at any point if they just don't like you. Right? Like that's so much worse than like making no money. I would much rather have my health and my family and my life than to be in a situation around toxic, crazy people. You know, like, okay, whatever. But
so the hard in there would be, looking for a different job, right?
the hard would be looking for a different job. But the moment you start looking for a different job, the fear is going to dissipate. Because you've taken an action to do something. That's why I say they're actually opposing. They're not the same thing. You're not doing the hard is actually decreasing my anxiety in the process. This is hard getting up early, or it's not early for you or me, but I mean, so we started this at 7 a.m. Yeah. We were in here. It got a little stuffy. Now it's cool. We got a lot of content to cover. It took us rearranging our schedules, making it work, but we didn't give in to all that and the inconvenience and everything. We got here. And then ultimately you do something like this and you're like, this can help other people, which always motivates me to say like, it's worth it. Right.
And there's always is it really helping? Just like you said with your speaking, it's like, am I really helping them?
Dude,
am I really
they're paying me. Well, maybe that doesn't mean I'm helping them. Like, so I know.
It's both, there's still fear even in
there is. The hard part of that is like just to reach out and say, hey, I'm struggling, or to be vulnerable with someone and say like, this is going on in my life, or to really try and work on it. Because I know a lot of times when I'm insecure about something, it's because that fear, I haven't done enough work to prepare yet.
Yeah.
Really. The reality is if I spent a couple hours during the day just preparing to speak, I'm not going to feel that fear at the end of the day.
Right. And it's with practice, right? You've done it. Yeah. And each time you're able to climb up to that lake, then I can do another one.
Then you can climb up and see the beautiful lake, but you're going to see whatever on that hike, something crazier, something new, maybe it's a lightning strike and all you do is think about that. Nate, my buddy Nate, like decided to want to cut switchbacks years ago on Pikes Peak, right? Oh. And then we end up crunched down in a lightning storm. Well, we get lost, first of all, and then we're delayed. And so we're like, not beating the storm, the bad weather. Then we're in the A-frame right there on Pikes Peak, crunched in there with some strangers, but we did meet some cool people. If that would be, but that's the best part of the memory. It's not getting to the top of Pikes Peak. It's the fact that we got lost.
Yeah.
And then, the last part with the lightning,
1,000 golden steps or whatever they call that.
Oh, dude. Isn't that amazing?
Horrible.
Yeah. It's horrible, but it's great.
It was one of those experiences like with my boys, like, well, maybe around this corner and there's just another one.
Oh, they did that one with you too?
They
haven't done Pikes Peak.
It just made me remember hiking Pikes Peak. And there's just another one. You're like,
oh man. And then
to get narrow and
dude, and then in the Pikes Peak, when I think that, and I think, well, then people run up this. I mean, and some of them have been my clients. You know who you are. I mean, like, it's like, how do they do that? That's insane.
A
whole nother level, but it's really cool. So how do people change the pattern of wanting to not do the hard and to avoid and actually leaning in and not playing it safe any longer if they want to? Because they tell you, let's say they come to you and ask you, hey, Brent, I want to stop avoiding all this stuff. Like I go home and I disengage and I watch TV or I drink a 12 pack or what do I do? How can I stop? Like they have a goal in mind. Like, well, I want to be making side business, side hustle kind of thing. I want to be doing this with my family, but they don't.
Yeah, we kind of touched on a little bit is just deciding and finding things that you can remember. And I think another piece is scheduling it, right? If you don't, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if something's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done, right? And so even if it's something I really want to do, if I don't get it on my calendar, it's not happening.
That is such a big deal.
And so, just scheduling.
Dude, that's so good. Like I have let clients get out of my office way too many times without scheduling whatever it is they're talking about. So when are you going to put it on your calendar? Do it now.
Right.
Like you are not leaving my office until you do that.
Well, let's do it right now.
Exactly. Are you text your wife, get the date planned. Where does she want to go? Put it in your calendar.
Yeah.
That's one motivating thing to like make sure you have enough time between clients so you can make sure they get this stuff on the calendar because they will not. The progress people make when they put it down somewhere, if you put it and you write it down, it's kind of like verbalizing something, like verbalizing a goal and writing it down. Or verbalizing an emotion and naming it and writing it down is such a powerful the words and language mean a lot.
Yeah.
Concrete, I'm taking an action to do something different. So, okay, you want to remember to encourage your team? Well, when are you going to do it?
Yeah.
So by the day to day, who are you going to encourage and how?
Right.
Write it down. Put it in your calendar. So, well, that's so silly. Why should I have to write down that I'm going to encourage my vice president of marketing? He gets paid a lot of money. Why should Well, do you want your business to be a happy place with a culture where you want to go to work and everyone else, where you're not going to die young? Yeah, well, then go ahead and encourage him. Well, what is he good at? Well, he's really a good dad, and he really is good at solving problems. Well, tell him, man. You don't have to be weird about it. Just tell him, okay, I'll do it by 5 o'clock today. Yeah. Call me once you're done. So email me. I'm your accountability here, dude. That's my style. So if you hire me as a coach, you're not unfamiliar with this kind of stuff. You know that if I'm taking your success very seriously. Yeah. And so you've already put skin in the game by committing to coaching and paying and all that. I'm going to hold you accountable to this stuff. I'm not going to beat you up or shame you or judge you. It's going to be safe. You know it's safe, but you also know you come back, I'm going to ask you about it. Yeah. What's an example of doing the hard that you can think of personally, professionally, somebody doing that you haven't already shared?
Man, there's so many things, but recently, last fall, I learned a lot of stuff in my master's program, did a lot of work. And then last fall, I was in a group where we got a lot more intentional about working on those things that I had uncovered, right? And really did some intentional work and just really sharing, being able to get to the root of the wound and then being able to share that in a group of people. That was pretty, uncomfortable but doing that and then being able to have them speak into me what I didn't get back then was huge healing. So it was a hard experience and there was great value in it. And what I've gained since then from that, I recognize there's still more of that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And after that experience, I had another experience with somebody close to me that I was trying to share deeply with because I was concerned for them, trying to connect with them because of my concern for them, and they weren't able to go there. And it was a really vulnerable, it was in another group situation. And fortunately, the moderators were able to kind of recognize what was going on and be able to speak into me, even though the person couldn't. And since then, I felt like I got that from the group. And since then, there's been signs of it wasn't a safe environment. But I still had that experience with the moderators to where it was still another healing experience, even though the outcome wasn't,
which I think is so incredibly important because people will often go ahead and do the hard if they know the outcome's going to be good, right? They won't do it if it's not, or they think it could. Yeah. Okay, so I'll do that knowing that the outcome's going to be good. Yeah. I'll make sure I go skydiving, but only if you can guarantee the chute's going to come out and it's going to be. The ground. I'm not going to bounce. So, and if you know something that might be hard, a lot of times if you ask yourself, what I find is that how am I going to feel 10 days after I do this, even if it doesn't go well? Right. How am I going to feel? But will you be able to say that I grew and I did something? Because that fear, you have the fear that's going to go and dissipate because you do hard, or you're going to avoid, and you're going to have the fear it's going to grow and grow and grow because you continually have it compound. Right. Like when you wake up in the morning every day, what I find is that you have a fear that you want to face, that it's something that's hard, that's glaring, whether it's something personal, professional, financial, your health, anything. But if you don't do it, if you start the activity of actually facing it, it's going to decrease the fear, right? It's going to automatically stop, stop growing, and you're going to know. And then by the end of the day, you face something that's really big and you've grown, even if it didn't go incredibly well. Yeah. Like I've had to face some things with business-wise that have been hard. I do one thing and then it opens up another issue that I got to clean up. I'm facing it and I'm dealing with it, and it's the anxiety is decreasing, although it looks like it's getting messier, but it's not. It's not, because I know long-term, and all you guys in the queue as well, you know what I'm talking about, and that's a support group of guys that I meet with once a month for a whole day and then hang out with during the month, because they all own businesses and we feed and help each other. But they've challenged me in so many different ways, having hard conversations, but mainly saying, Adam, you got to do the hard. Yeah. And that fear is telling you, and you wake up, that there's something you're avoiding that you got to face. Yeah. So put something, an action you can take here is put something on your calendar that's hard that you're going to do in building a relationship. Yeah. In summary, the benefits to facing things relationally, to doing the hard. I mean, here's 3 things, essentials to keep in mind to grow relationships. The actions you can take. Psychological safety, make it safe to connect. Go first, be intentional, and then do the hard, which is much easier down the road.
Yeah.
So Brent, thanks for being here today. How can somebody reach you professionally? Can you share with them how they might do that?
So you can call my office, 316-239-1880, or they can email me. It would be Brent@axiomcounseling.com.
And that's Brent at AXIOM Counseling, COUNSELING.com, and 316-239-1880. Action for you to take today, as I talked about how the Decide Your Legacy app is on iOS. It's going to be coming out on Google as well. That's your call to action. Download it. Get it. Go through the content. Even if you've gone through it before, I'm actually redoing and refining even the Lite version. You got videos of me talking and worksheets, downloadable. You can share it with your team. Awesome stuff, I think, because I put it together and I really believe in this stuff because it's the stuff that I share with people and have seen work. There's a lot of junk out there, a lot of stuff that'll make you more anxious if you engage in it. I mean, I'm telling you, if you do the hard, you do this stuff, it's going to make a big difference in your life. If you don't have an Apple iPhone kind of thing, you can set up an account, go through Shatterproof Yourself Lite on your own by hitting the link through the website on the web version as well. And you can share that with your friends as well. So also, I will tell you this, if you do like this podcast episode, share it with one friend, just one person out there. Say, hey, I liked this. It was helpful. Share it with one friend. Remember, 20% of transformational change or less actually is insight. You're getting content, insight, information today. 80% plus is action. An okay plan you act on is 100 times better than a perfect plan that you do nothing with. What resonated with you most today? I challenge you by the end of the day, apply something that you learn and teach it to somebody else. I'm going to sign off today the way I always do, make it your mission to live the life now that you want to be remembered for 10 years after you're gone. All right? So you decide your legacy, nobody else. I appreciate you greatly, and I'll see you next time.
This show is part of the ICT Podcast Network. For more information, visit ictpod.net.